So I'll try to transmit some of my confusion to you, and I hope that confusion will prove productive. Sometimes misunderstanding can be more productive than understanding. So I will try my best to raise a few questions. Your esteemed Vice Chancellor talked about the importance of questions. So maybe I will end up raising some questions which will prove far more illuminating than the answers I try to give. So I chose to speak on a subject which keeps fascinating me, although I don't understand it very well. When I was a student 55 years ago, long before many of you were born, at Ravenshaw College, the one subject that no one wanted to study or teach was history of English literature. The most uncharismatic, the most dismotivated teacher was assigned that subject. And we also thought that this is the most boring subject on earth. And one of the reasons why we thought that subject was so boring was because the most popular history of English literature in those days was Legui Kazamian. 1100 pages, 1200 pages, huge fat book with which you can kill your enemy, sometimes your friend. The other book was Arthur Compton Rickett, another huge fat big book. So the moment you saw these two books, you thought history of literature is something that I should avoid for my own health. Okay? And then some shorter volumes were recommended, like B.I. for Evans, Legui. So generally speaking, this was a subject which we approached with great reluctance and lack of comprehension. Not just your past. All of us are pasts, but all of us don't have histories. Nations have pasts. Nations don't have histories, unless that past is constructed in the form of a narrative or story. Okay, I'll come to that later. The third thing is race, milieu, moment. What were the historical circumstances prevailing at a particular point in time? So the writers, works of literary art they produced were also shaped by the moment or the historical circumstances. So this was one of the earliest theory of literary history produced by Taine, and to some extent it guides people who wrote literary histories, but now is no longer tenable. Although it was very powerful, it was very influential when it was enunciated, when it was advanced, nowadays people think it's too deterministic, that you identify 3 or 4 things and then think that literary history is shaped by these things. So it's a highly deterministic, mechanistic, a very mechanical approach, that I find out something about a writer's life, about the geographical world which he inhabits, then certain historical circumstances, then certain characteristics about the race to which he belongs, and then, lo and behold, a literary history.